Hey guys, Lord here, back in with another action figure review, and today we got something a little interesting because of the, well, pre-order process, for lack of better terms, surrounding it, and then the quality of the figure in general after its release. Well, quote-unquote release, because it didn't take much time after the pre-order for it to release, but of course, we're talking about the Masterverse 1987 Masters of the Universe movie fan channel exclusive Blade. That said, this of course is brought to us by the fine folks over at Mattel, who are going to remain fine folks, even though I do have, well, two issues with my particular figure, but one that seems to be a little bit more abroad amidst Masterverse collectors and fans and whatnot. So we'll talk about that, but first and foremost, we cut to the chase and get into the meat and taters of this review and take a look-see at all Blade has to offer in terms of accessories. Starting off, we got a pair of swords, and they are the same sword, unlike the Classics one that came with a mixed match of swords, which kind of drove my OCD nuts. And then we also got his laser whip, which is very gummy this time around. It was coiled up in the box, but it has just pretty much like uncoiled itself since then, so cool, I guess. Whatever. And that's all you get. No hands. Kind of sucks we don't get fists, but did we really need them? I don't know. But taking a closer look at Blade here. Now, here's the story with this guy. He went up for pre-order on a Friday in May, and then literally 4 days later he processed. So interesting, because Mattel actually gave 3 of these away on a live stream right after Toy Fair in March. So I kind of assumed this guy was going to come out very, very soon, if not just be a Mattel Creations thing. Turns out he was fan channel, and he sold out pretty quick. Glad I was able to get one, and there wasn't anything glaringly wrong with it. Only thing that was wrong with mine was that this sword scabbard piece was not glued in properly, so I'm going to have my old man put a dab of glue on that, so it stays fastened to his belt a little better. It stays in there. It's not falling out even as I shake it there, but it is something that I do want to have nice and secure in there. So if I move his arms forward here. I don't normally do this, but this guy does not have the weird tabs like some Masterverse figures. He's just got these little snaps for his armor, so I don't mind taking this off to show you guys something, because I thought this was interesting. Okay, so we got this off. That's fine. Now his head. Alright, his head popped right off, which that's a pretty decent likeness to whoever played this character. My apologies, his name escapes me. I do think he's very much still alive, though, which is cool. And then we take his tunic piece off, and now we have the naked buck of Blade. Now, of course, when it comes to Masterverse, I'm going to pop these arms out to the side here. They do have the diaphragm joint that does move forward, as well as back. It rotates side to side and tilts side to side, right? You could see that there is technically a slit for the waist. I can even fit my nail in it somewhat. But when I gotta turn it, it doesn't move, like, at all. Giving it the old Overlord man strength here, like, it is not budging at all. So my guess, this is glued in place or keyed in place and isn't supposed to move. I've had this type of issue one other time with the Havoc Throne Skeletor. It was a Barbarian Skeletor variant. The torso was not assembled correctly, so it was kind of springy. I think this is a similar scenario, but instead of a circular peg in the waist going into the abdomen, it's a square one, and it's glued. That's my only guess. I don't know anyone who can turn this thing's waist. Friend of the channel T-Biz's waist is stuck. I think there's a couple people Evil Villain has seen who have a stuck waist. So yeah, that kind of sucks, but it is what it is, I'm afraid. So why don't we put his tunic back on. And his head here. So we can go over the rest of his articulation. His shoulders, of course, are on the disc hinges, so they can go out. You can rotate forward and back. I will say the biceps are a little gummier on this guy than some, but not terrible. Probably just needs to be pinched closed, and then it won't do the shifty thing I'm not a fan of. It does it on both sides, who am I kidding? He's got a double elbow, but it works better over here. He's got his little dart shooter, that's pretty cool. His little spiked gauntlets. His little Batman gauntlets there. This hand has a correct hinge for holding stuff with the up and down hinge. This hand does not. That kind of sucks. If you saw it earlier, he does have the drop down hips that I'm not a fan of, but they're not stuck, so it's fine. And they're not loose, so I guess it's alright. It's fine. He does have forward kick that works pretty well. Outward kick that works pretty well. He's got these little doodads on his thighs here. I think these should probably be further down, huh? Like right around here instead, maybe? Maybe that's where they should be. I don't know why they were shifted up so high. Maybe it's so they didn't fall off, but you can always super glue those if you want. He does have a thigh cut. That works fine. He's got double jointed knees, which aren't too tight, which is nice. He's got a boot cut that is also kind of gummy. He's a little gummier for a Masterverse, but not like a Marvel Legends where it's like, ah, it feels like every joint's going to break. He feels decent. He feels solid still. It's also kind of hot where I'm at. Like, it's pushing 90 now, so yeah, that probably has something to do with it. I mean, I got central air, but that's only going to do so much. He does have a hinge in the foot with a rocker and peg holes at the bottom of the feet. Almost thought he didn't for a second there. Like, am I a liar? What? I don't want to sit on a throne of lies. I'm not some fake-ass Santa Claus. But, moving his arms up. Let's get his gear back on. Literally, it's like playing dress-up. What the hell? Pull this over. Tab there. And then this can go over this. Like so. And then you got to kind of pull this down a little bit so it actually sits right. There. You pull it down like that. It pretty much centers itself too. It's only going to fit one way, man. And there is Blade. Ready to kick some ass. He was probably the coolest original character out of the movie. I liked Sorod, but he got cucked out way too quick. Cool design, but lame character. Karg looked like, I don't know, a combination of Isaac Newton and Eddie from Iron Maiden. Which on paper sounds cool, but he sucked too, so... Blade at least got to whip He-Man in the back in like some torture chamber scene, and that kind of makes him cool, I guess. I'm assuming he's supposed to be like Triclops, but he's not Triclops. I mean, they can't call him Triclops. He's like the opposite of Triclops. He only has one good eye. What good is that? I know what that's like. I have one good eye. I barely got that anymore. So, there you go. Is that going to stay on for us? Let me pop that in again. This is why this needs to be glued on. It's going to pop off on me. Yeah, that's in as far as it's going to go. Alright, we'll just leave them like that. But with that being said, watch out for his little chin thingies. They are soft, but you don't want to pull them too far. Could jack something up, maybe. Jack up his pretty little face there. It's like some crazy space pirate. But with that being said, for like the third freaking time, it's time now that we move right along and take a look at some size comparisons. first up, here's good old Blade, alongside a couple other evil warriors from the 1987 Masters of the Universe movie. We have good old Meg Foster as Evelyn, and whoever played Beastman as Beastman, doing his best Grizzlor cosplay. I mean, seriously, look at this guy. He looks like freaking Grizzlor. That said, I never noticed how much taller Beastman is compared to the other Masterverse figures. I kind of like the fact that he's a little taller than both Blade and Evelyn here. Evelyn being a bit shorter than Blade and Beastman here. I like this scaling quite a bit. Blade being an average sized, well, muscular dude, and then Beastman being a big beast man, and then, well, Evelyn being a lady. It makes a lot of sense. So, yeah, I dig it. Just getting these two out of the way. So we can bring in our two regulars. That's possible without making a mess. Bring in the Mythic Legion's brother Manibelith. Right there. And let's bring in the infamous Elephant Spawn, who, I'm curious, is about it's close to the same height as Blade. He's not tall enough to be towering, but he is a little bit taller. So, with that being said, it is time now that we wrap things up with some final thoughts. Overall, and aside from the waist being stuck on my particular figure, although after talking to a few people who have gotten this guy, that seems to be a somewhat universal issue, I guess. The only real issue I had with good old Blade here was the fact that the sword sheath, or scabbard, or whatever you want to call it, on his left side wasn't glued in properly. Thankfully, I was able to heat that up, pop it out, and align it, but I do need to have the old man put some super glue on that so it stays on there forever. But other than that, man, you know, if the waist thing is supposed to be that way, or if it's on everybody's, then I guess it's not something to really lose sleep over, right? Because I like this figure quite a bit, and I am not the biggest fan of the 87 Masters movie. I think it's, well, shit, compared to some movies that came out during that time, like Beastmaster or Conan or hell, even the frickin' Princess Bride. But with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this review. Until next time, I'll catch you guys later.